we have to do a pledge?
I don't we have it on the list.
And let's not.
Okay.
Well, it's really not a business meeting, is
No.
it?
Well, ready? All right. Looks like we are recording. Good evening, everyone. Thanks for being here. Really appreciate it on a winter night. At least it's not snowing, right? Still a little cold, but thank you for being here. So you guys are here at our town hall. This is our first time that we're having a town hall. So bear with us as we present and have an opportunity to hear from you as well, right? So the first thing I thought we would do this evening is introduce ourselves so you know a little bit more about us, and then a short presentation, and then we'll open it up to the floor. So I'll begin on behalf of the Planning Commission. My name is Joanna Johnson. I serve as the chair of the Township Planning Commission. I've lived in Marshall for 33 years. I'm originally born and raised in the city of Detroit. Came to Marshall, went to school at Western Michigan University, came to Marshall just not knowing anybody or knowing anything. But my husband and I bought a house here, originally on Walters Drive. And we loved Marshall because it was a small rural community. I grew up in the city, and I wanted to have a rural community ultimately to raise our children, so which we did. So that's why what brought me to Marshall. I love Marshall. I love being on the Planning Commission with my fellow commissioners, and it's just good to be here tonight. So that's my introduction. Who would like to go next? Go ahead.
I'm Steve Riggs. I've lived in Marshall Township for 40 years. Where we live on my wife's family farm, which has been in her family for 163 years. So we've had a long connection to Marshall Township. I'm also a retired fire chief of Marshall Township. And like Joanna said, I really enjoyed the Planning Commission.
I'm Christina Markunas. I'm the secretary on the Planning Commission. I moved here originally 2017. Left for Colorado for a few years and came back in 2021 with my husband, who's from here. So we've been back 5 years, and we plan on raising our children here.
Go ahead, Brad.
Me?
Yeah, sure.
My name's Dwayne Sly. I'm the vice chair on the Planning Commission. I say there's two kinds of people in Marshall Township. Those that were born here and those that got here as quick as they could. And I'm in the second category. I wasn't born here, but my dad moved us here when I was 7 years old in 1963, so I've been here since, other than a short time when I first got married. We had an apartment, but I live on Old 27 North across from Steve. The only house we've ever owned, lived in that same house 46 years now. I love Marshall Township. Supervisor Bozard told me one time, we've been friends for a long time, and he told me one time, he said, he says, we have a pretty nice township. And I never thought about it until then. And then I started noticing when I go through the other townships. And I do think Marshall Township is the nicest township in the county. Not taking anything away from the other townships, but I just think it's a nice township. We like the rural part. We live in a rural part. I think it's a beautiful township, and it's a great place to live. I don't want to, if I'm going to live in Michigan, there isn't any other place I'd rather live right where I'm at.
Okay.
Good evening, everybody. I'm Mick Woods. I've been a resident here, be 16 years in May. Retired here from the Air Force in 2007. I was born here, but I was a wee baby when my dad transferred to Northeast Texas. So that's where I was raised at. Joined the Air Force 27 years later. Came to here with my wife from Gail is from here also. I am a trustee on the Marshall Township Board. As such, I am the board's representative to the Planning Commission here. So that's my story.
Commissioner Summers?
I'm Roger Summers. I was born on 14400 L Drive North in 1955. I lived there until I got married, and then I moved down to the other end of L Drive at 16 Mile Road, stayed there until I moved to Michigan Avenue, where I live now, and operate a tractor repair business and have sold tractors there since 1988. And I'm, I guess, the newest fill-in member of the council. So I guess
good.
that's about it.
Commissioner Buller, who is participating virtually, go ahead.
All right, like Mr. Summers, I'm new to the Planning Commission. My family moved to Ceresco in Marshall Township back 1960. A few years later, moved to Emmett Township, and now I moved back to Marshall 2019. I live on Main Street in Ceresco. Really enjoy serving the public and doing my part in the Planning Commission.
Thank you very much. I do want to acknowledge our audio-visual officer, Trustee Wright, and he is gracious enough to spend his time too, making sure that we are able to bring these to you, even if not, for those that aren't here this evening, and as well as many of our meetings, so that you can watch them after on our YouTube channel. So thank you again. And I also want to acknowledge our Township Supervisor, Dave Bozzard, who is in the back of the room as well. So thank you for being here as well. All right. Well, with that, I think we can go ahead and get started with just a short presentation this evening. And on behalf of the commissioners, next slide, please. We just want to go through just a few high-level items, which is why a master plan and why now. What we've heard, in case any of you didn't know, we did have a survey that was out as well. So just going to briefly touch on that. What the next steps are to the master plan and the timeline, and then open it up to the floor to each of you. This is an opportunity, again, for you guys to engage with us and maybe for us to ask questions of you as well. So that's just the brief overview. Next slide. So in case you didn't know what a master plan is, it is public part of state law, and it's Public Act 33 of 2008. And really, it is the township's vision for the future. We currently have a master plan that was adopted in 2022. And the idea of it is to really say, what does the character and the suitability of our land use in Marshall Township, what should it be? What is it today? And what should it be in the future? One of the items within the statute, it says what promotes public health, safety, prosperity, and general welfare. Next slide. I am not going to totally read this, but I thought it was really interesting. Many of your commissioners here, we go through a variety of training, and there was one of our training guides was the Township Guide to Planning and Zoning in Michigan Townships. And in it, I thought it was ironic that it had an example of one of the reasons that you might want to look at your master plan. And that second paragraph I thought resonated with me anyway, that for example, the sudden relocation of a major industrial facility to a rural township is not something often anticipated in a master plan. And that just resonated with what we have been experiencing here in Marshall Township, really as a reason to really look at our master plan now, even though it was last adopted in 2022. Next slide. So in the state statute, it does note that state law requires at least the master plan be updated once in every 5 years. That's the minimum. It doesn't mean that you can't, as we are today, amend it sooner, but at minimum, you want to look at it at minimum every 5 years. So really the reasons that this board or the Planning Commission and ultimately the Township Board approved the ability for us to look at this again was the Blue Oval and the major campus, the solar development in our township, the Master 425 agreements, and we have been working on correcting our current zoning map so that it actually is corrected to what the proper zoning is in our township today. Next slide. So just to give you perspective, and if somebody has better figures than what we have, but today, what we understand is we have approximately 1,000 acres between NextEra, also called Cereal City, solar. We have approximately 5 acres that were converted to Ford Blue Oval. Approximately 1,500 acres are the major campus. During this process, we had 49 residential homes demolished in the township. And while those were being demolished in all of 2025, we had 2 new 1- and 2-family dwellings built. We also did have one commercial permit that we issued as well, but those were the three new, if you will, developments that came out of our permitting process. So based on the USDA, the United States Department of Agriculture, in Marshall Township, we have approximately 9,000 as of the last census of farmland, right? So between the major campus and Blue Oval conversion, there were 2,000 acres. The utility scale solar was 1,000. So within our time frame, we had approximately 3,000 acres of farmland that was converted. So that's really approximately 33% of our township that was converted. The total land area in Marshall Township is about 19,000 acres, just to give you an idea. So as you can see, that's substantial property that's really changed, the vision of the township as it was from our last master plan. Next slide. So the survey, we really made a conscious effort to have folks participate because you are our residents, we are your neighbors, and hearing and trying to understand what do you see as the vision of the township moving forward. So we put out a survey. Within that, we also mailed it out to 1,416 households, and we received 236 responses. Now on our website, right on our homepage, you can peruse and look at those survey results yourself as well. We just took liberties of looking at the two areas of what do people like most about Marshall Township and what concerns or challenges do you see in Marshall Township. So today we just honed in on those two just to give you all some perspective. So what people like most, the quiet rural setting, 195 responses for that, the natural beauty, the accessibility to nearby cities, the sense of community, and the property housing types. So those were those were the top 5. Then what concerns or challenges do you see? Again, the top 5, loss of rural character, road conditions, speeding of traffic, township communication, and wetland protection. So out of those 2 questions, and again, the full survey results are out on our website. Those were the 2 top 5 for both of those questions. So what's really important to us is community engagement. Having been part of the 2022 master plan, this planning commission, and I think I can speak for all of us, we really wanted to have community engagement. We have been trying very, very hard to reach out to our community and it helps guide us, right? What do you want to see in the future of this township? So it's an important component to us. I already mentioned that we had 236 survey responses. We did mail out to the household. We had it online availability. We advertised it as well. So we were really trying to get a lot of survey results. I am happy to report, I believe the last time we did a survey for our master plan, I believe we had either 88 or 89 responses. So, at least we can say that we've doubled that. So that's good. And then the town hall, that's where you are today. Thank you for coming out. That's why we're here, is another opportunity for community engagement. And this won't be the end, right? This is really part of our networking and communication. But ultimately, once this planning commission does have a draft master plan, and next slide, please, there are some steps that will come about. And there's other opportunities for public engagement, whether it be for the public hearing of the master plan, coming to our planning commission meetings. The schedule is on our website. Ultimately, when it goes to the township board, that's another opportunity for community engagement. So what you have on here is our tentative timeline. But this planning commission isn't going to have our sense of urgency overcome our sense of quality. When we initially set out, we had a timeline. It might be a little bit longer, but we are trying to do our due diligence. So as you see up on the screen, we develop and adopt the draft master plan with the residents' community feedback, like today, for instance. Then the township board has to either approve or reject our master the PC, the planning commission, presents to the township board. Then the board approves the distribution of the draft master plan. By state statute, there are certain folks that we need to make sure we distribute this to, and we allow for additional comment time period. It is 42 days for the review and comment period. If, for instance, this township didn't have a master plan before, or we were starting a new full master plan, then that comment period is actually 63 days. So moving on, we have the draft master plan public hearing. Again, this is tentative for June, so keep in mind these dates are subject to change. And then the planning commission will vote on the resolution to adopt the master plan, right? Assuming all the comments and all the information that we take on. And then we send it to the township board with the hopes that they, again, another opportunity for public comment, but they formally adopt the planning commission's presentation of the new master plan or updated master plan. So that's the timeline. The hope would be that we have this completed in July, but again, big disclaimer, is that, you know, we have had master plan review meetings. We actually last evening had a planning commission meeting here, and we've added an additional date to do a master plan review. So these things take time. We are doing that ourselves. We do not have a consultant on board to do that. So it's going to take us some time. So that's the hope. But again, it is subject to change. Okay, next slide. So here we go. This is your opportunity and maybe our opportunity to ask questions of you as well. It's town hall. You have an opportunity to come to the podium, and we do ask that you come to the podium. Make sure the microphone is on green and that we can hear you and that we can catch your audio for the recording as well. We just want to hear your thoughts from you. What's good, not just what's bad, right? What's good? What are your concerns? What are your thoughts? And we just want an open dialogue. At this point, we are not planning on setting our timer at the 5-minute mark. You know, obviously we want to ensure that everybody has a voice and an opportunity to come to the podium. So if somebody goes for an hour, we might have to cut you off, but again, maybe that's a good problem to have. But at this point, it's an opportunity for you. We are here, your fellow planning commissioners are here for you and to listen to you. So with that, welcome, and we'll be happy to have the first person interested in coming to the podium.
I'll come to the podium.
All right.
My name is Chris Stout. I live on the corner of H Drive and 15 Mile Road. And I used to have a nice, quiet, rural setting, but I don't have that anymore because of all the trucks for 3 years that have went up and down 15 Mile Road, the double tandem gravel trucks, the beating down of the solar panels when they were put in. We've had 3 years. I can't go out in my front yard. I have a very nice, close to the road front yard. I can't go out there and work in my front yard when those trucks are going by 55 miles an hour. It sucks. I used to really like Marshall. I do not like Marshall anymore. There's nothing good for me to say about Marshall. I'm sorry. I will not spend 1 penny in Marshall except for Buzzard's Flower Garden Farm. That's it. I avoid Marshall. And I'm sorry to be a Debbie Downer and a negative person, but I live on 15 Mile Road, and a lot of the people that don't live on 15 Mile Road don't know what it's like to have to put up with that crap that we've had to put up with. It's dangerous. I'm surprised somebody didn't get killed with those trucks going up and down all the time. And now it's Republic garbage trucks that are going down, up and down all the time. I don't know where they're going. We never used to have Republic garbage trucks going back and forth and back and forth and back and forth. So now do I have to look forward to garbage trucks for forever? Are they coming from that nasty ass battery factory? I don't know. I used to have a beautiful night sky. I go around my thing now. I thought, wow, why is that so bright? It's the battery factory. It's lovely. So yeah, that's my opinion of Marshall Township. So there you go.
Oh, wait, don't go anywhere. I have a question for you. So thank you for your comments. So do you have a solution?
No, there's no solution. What's the solution?
I don't know. I mean, we're asking.
Did they want to send the trucks down different roads? I'd be happy as a clam to have that. Because if I have to live there and have these garbage trucks now, because I don't know why they're all of a sudden on our road like they were before. The two tandem big gravel trucks pulled in my drive today, went in my garage, one went by. I thought, oh boy, here we go. Now we're starting with the big double tandem gravel trucks. So there's nothing pleasant about 15 Mile Road anymore. And now there's the rumor of, are we going to get a recycle center down there by where the foundry used to be? I don't want that crap. So yeah, that's my opinion.
Thank you. It's anybody's time. And commissioners, feel free to.
12312 L Drive North, and you know I had to say something. In response to Chris, I have no longer driven on her road because it is that busy. I will take alternate routes because you practically get ran over by trucks. So I feel your pain, Chris. The other thing on H Drive, we know that there are some electrical substations there. And I foresee a BES project trying to be initiated there. In that case, Chris, you're really going to cry. It's painful. It does take away of the countryside. It looks like garbage, trucks, the best units and that kind of thing. So it's going to take more dignity away from your township besides of those electrical substations. I can't tell you the pictures of all the best stations that and what they look like in just a little bit of an area. So I feel your pain and I hope that doesn't happen and that's not allowed because there's just too much danger in that and I foresee that coming. And I'm really, really worried about that for your township, our township. Okay.
Oh, anything else, Diana?
When I did fill out the survey, I did not have I did not have a lot of contact with the marshal. I have been here for different movements that I was not happy with, like the high tensile wires going across our property. And they did try, the solar people did try to actually, they started staking out our land with stakes. And I went out there and I said, what are you doing? And they said, well, we're going to take the electrical lines across your property. And I said, hell no, you're not. And I stopped them. But then what happened is it went over to the black
Neighbors.
property, the neighbors, they agreed to allow that to come through. But it's just like they just feel that they can take over, do what they want just for the almighty dollar. I can tell you that I'm in conflict with the Compass Township as well, with the BES unit. We're right on that corner. And I appreciate all of your support. I can't tell you how it feels like to have a crowd marching in support of that. And that I was going to say that when I filled out that survey, I did not have a good idea of what was going on here, but I feel very much supported by you guys. I feel that you understand what it's like to be ran over, and just to have your support, it means so, so much. And I can't tell you how much your presence at the Canvas board meeting has meant to me. You're almost crying here. But I do want you to know that I appreciate your support. I sat into a couple of your planning meetings, and I know you want the rural dignity as much as we want, and I thank you for that.
Good.
Can I ask you something? And for Chris too. What would be your vision? What would you like for us to go towards?
You know, the best units, everybody wants to get their hands into that. Everybody wants to get their money into that and the solar.
The solar?
Yeah, and enough is enough. I saw your percentages of acreage up here. I was amazed how much was used in the solar project and how much of our countryside is wasted by that. No more solar, no more BES. You don't need a solar system. You do not need a solar system to place BES units. And put it over there at their Blue Oval. It is an industrial site. It is set up as an industrial site. Us people in the rural, I am devastated. I just can't imagine a BES coming into our countryside down the road for me. I can't imagine looking at that, worrying about the danger of an explosion. Did you guys see on January 16th, where a FedEx truck
Yeah,
was going down I-94
yeah.
carrying lithium batteries and exploded in a FedEx truck. And they can't, to this day, they don't know what had happened. They can't give you a reason. They're volatile, guys. We're talking about lithium ion batteries that are about as dangerous as they come. And it exploded. They had to have 5 different fire departments there. The Environmental Protection Agency was there, and they had to block off. They wore masks. And they were worried about the toxicity in the air, and they really kept people away for quite a long time. And that's just a few batteries going down the highway, guys. I mean, they're just so unstable.
Diana, I just wanted to share with, thanks to their leadership of our township supervisor as well, back in January last month, the township board passed a moratorium on any BESS and data centers, until which time us as a planning commission can do some research. Whether that means that we come up with a ordinance related to BESS or data centers, or we choose to do nothing and leave it as is. So that is something that the township board has asked us as a planning commission to tackle. It probably isn't going, we're probably not going to get to it until we get through our master plan as well. But I did want to let you know, we do have a moratorium on those at this point in Marshall Township.
Can you explain what a moratorium is? Just
Oh, thank you. Yeah, I can try to do it. Basically, it stops, that's my.
Pause.
It's a pause, might be a better way to put it. It's a pause, because some of these are very new, and thank you for all the research you've been doing, that we don't have all the ins and outs of what all of this really means and what it's really going to look like. So it gives us an opportunity, and I apologize, I don't have the state statute or the information on there or in front of me, but it is on on the Planning Commission agenda from last night, is the moratorium resolution that the board passed. But it is, as Commissioner Sly mentioned, a pause. Let's pause those 2 types of developments in Marshall Township till we have an opportunity to educate ourselves and educate the public on what are they, many of us are going to be going to some training on it as well, and what are our options?
One of the things that a lot of people don't realize is that when we have property insurance, I've spoke to State Farm and a couple of other large home insurance companies, and they were aggressive to me on the phone before I even had to politely try to explain what I had questions about. They became very aggressive, and we're talking about right here in Marshall, State Farm. And they said, well, we're not going to help you for any property damage. You only have house. And I said, well, wonder if I want to have horses back on my property, metal and all those toxicity metals now are on my land. Well, you don't have horses now. No, I don't have horses now. But what if? Long story short, there is a gap between house insurance and environmental insurance. And one of the things that we were talking about at Convis was having environmental property insurance of over $50 million. And in that case, that the township is not responsible. The people are not going to be responsible for the cleanup. They put your money where your mouth is. If same with property values. They swear up and down that there's no problems with property values with BESS and solar. Don't let them kid you. I have read so many articles, and it goes anywhere from 2% to 10%. And they said, well, when they came to my house, Venergy came to my house to talk. I opened my house for people to talk with them because they had no clue. Now I'm talking about Convis, and I appreciate you listening, but none of my neighbors had no clue that this was happening. And so one of the representatives came to my house and she says, we will not do property value. We will not do that. And I said, well, if there's not an issue with property values, then why is there an issue? We've given us property values. There's no problem. You'll be able to sell your house. People sell their houses every day around a best. I said, okay, well, if that's the case, give us property values. And if we need them, we need them. And if we don't, we don't. But it's been a very frustrating road, guys. And unfortunately, I live on that corner of Marshall Township, and right across the street of me is that Convis, and it's been very detrimental to us. But going back to Marshall, please make a lot of considerations before you approve anything that hazardous into your community. This is something that should not be in your neighborhood. This should not be in your neighborhood. It should be in a regulated industrial area that's ready to rock and roll if there should be some problems. Have you guys read anything about the Moss solar system that happened in California? A year later, people are detrimentally sick from the toxic fumes that came from an explosion from that area. Literally sick. We're talking about severely ill. So it's nothing to play around with. It should not be in rural areas. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Please.
I don't, this is just, my name's Dave Delaney and I live on L Drive North also. But the battery plant over there, they're not even going to produce car batteries, is that true?
We don't know.
What?
We don't know. All we know is what's in the paper.
Heard through the grapevine, they weren't going to do that and they were going to produce batteries for the solar panels and that type of thing. I was wondering if anybody knows anything.
All I read in the paper was that they were changing some of their production over to home solar batteries, home storage. And also, I think it was hybrid cars, wasn't it? I think that's what the article said, but well, we don't know anymore. They don't tell us anything.
Dave, we have not, I mean, please, commissioners or anybody else in the room, correct me, please. If anybody sees this later on, YouTube, they can correct me too. But to my knowledge, I don't think we've seen Ford here or anyone here telling us what is happening directly here
We just
at the
hear
township.
rumors. We just hear
Either
rumors.
rumors
that's all
or
we do.
what we read in the paper or what might be on the Choose Marshall website or whatever. That's what we know. And I'm sorry for that, but.
Dave, you can correct me on this. Didn't you reach out to Ford and ask them to come and have a town hall here with us? And they didn't. So. Yeah. And I mean, we didn't have any really communication with Maida either. I mean, I think Mr. Durian came to a couple of meetings, but they do what they do.
I mean, it's kind of sad that, they go in here and they buy up all that property and destroy all that because we had to have that and now it's not happening. It's just weird, My other question is, does anybody have any information about this AI thing that's going on by Stewart Lake? What's happening?
Just what I've read that I think everybody's seen, or there was the LAFD meeting that was
Yeah.
online, but that's
I
all.
think right now they're in something like a 6-month feasibility study. They do have an option for the property, but I think that's in the 6 to 12-month timeframe that they'll be doing this feasibility study.
How close will it be to Stewart Lake? Does anybody know?
Close, from what I've seen, very close. We won't touch it, but it'll be close. But that, on the good side, like Joanna said, we have a moratorium right now, and we're gonna really work to do what we can legally to.
I don't have any, you can say what you know, what's your solution? Well, there's really no solution for that battery thing. There's hardly a solution for the solar panels, but the AI thing, you know, it's just a bad spot for it. You know, that's my solution.
Yeah,
Put it somewhere else.
they're running into resistance everywhere. Nobody wants them.
I think we all agree.
Yeah, and I will share that I think that the voices need to be heard, you know, because a lot of times you come to public meetings and you wonder if anybody's listening, like us, right? But voices matter. I think we've said that numerous times in, you know, sharing that with the master planning process. And voices need to be heard at the city, right? Whether, you know, and from surrounding jurisdictions, you know, because sometimes saying nothing, you condone the behavior, right? So you're just, your voice matters.
And, you know, you guys asked Chris about a solution on these trucks that go down the road. They repaired the road after they destroyed it. But one possible solution for the garbage trucks and everything is they take 15 Mile Road, maybe the following week, you know, they take another route and it gives those people a break, you know? Just an idea.
Thank you for a possible solution.
I have just one question about the moratorium. Will the state be able to run right over that?
To my knowledge, no.
Say that again?
Will the state be able to ride over your delay?
So much like what you're experiencing with renewable energy related items such as BESS, right, or solar, the Michigan Public Service Commission has the ability, because local control by statute got pretty much overridden, if you will.
Right.
So for the data centers, no, but for the renewable energy side, the BESS as well as solar, if they don't come locally, much like Convis Township as an example, they have the option to go the route through the state.
Right.
Now, if the question I think you originally asked is, could they override it? I'm not sure, but I think I don't know. I will have to make myself a no, we'll make ourselves a no, but I think they always have the option to go to the state through the Michigan Public Service Commission.
I think she's asking during the moratorium time.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Well, you've got to hold, literally, like you said, for a BESS and that.
Right.
I think Commissioner Sly was right by saying I don't believe so, but I will double check, right?
That's my understanding. Is
Also time-wise and when we did it, it wasn't like a project was suggested.
Right.
And then we put a moratorium on it. We put a moratorium first. And so if someone tried to come in, it's like, well, we've already had a moratorium. I think that looks better
Yeah,
from our perspective.
You knew that was coming.
well, we're trying to get ahead of the stuff rather
Right.
than work from behind the line.
The state does allow municipalities to work towards something, to research it and maybe come up with an ordinance if they so wish to do so. If not, if something comes in, then it defers back to the state and then they follow state guidelines.
I would have a hard time believing because it's like, this is a 6-month one. We have up to a year to do it. I would be surprised if the state would try to intervene before that time frame. But it at least gives us some time to learn what's right and wrong about it. And then we can do our best to protect the township and creating some, maybe, like you're saying, like maybe there's some guidelines of where and how it can be placed in relation to the master plan. Sorry, I'm not a part of this.
No, it's okay.
But it's.
Yeah, you know, when they came to my house, I asked them, could you guys take that across? Can you take your power and put it into a station over there and use that, utilize that? No, the landowner has his choice and we're going to stay right here. The landowner wants it right here, was told to me. But I was coming up with solutions, guys, anything but here, you know.
Well, I guess what I want to say is that's part of our hopes, that we're going to go some meetings and we're hoping that, so hopefully we can intervene if they say we want to do something, because the H-Drive station is right on the road.
That's right.
And if we can make something in place that if you're going to do a battery plant, it needs to be in the middle of the block, back by the woods. That connection to the power line could have been in the middle of the block. It
That's
didn't
right.
need to be on the road. It didn't need to be next to this house, but we didn't know any better. I mean,
Yes.
This commission wasn't really there when everything passed through, but nobody knew any better.
That's right.
It was-
Even now, when they've got those electrical substations out there, that best does not need to be on H Drive.
Well, I can share, I was on the planning commission during that time. Uh,
The only one.
I think I just walked into it, actually.
You were new to the planning.
Yes,
commission.
I was, did not know. I walked right into it, right? And again, it's on record, the vote is there. You can, look at it at your leisure. But I think I recall at least quite a few residents during that time had asked that that substation be pushed back because there's residents that were looking right at it, right? But they did not, and frankly, I'll just say, and nor did we, right? Lessons learned, right? Really do enough, I'll speak for myself. I did not advocate enough to move that back.
And townships can do that. You guys have the power at the planning commission. You can say, okay, you want a BES here? Then you're gonna give us 500 million for environmental property damage, or we won't play with you. You guys have that power. Don't underestimate that, you do.
Thank you.
Anyone else?
You said to shut up.
Diane Kowalski, and hearing everybody, what they're saying, I appreciate what you have to say. What I want to say as the wife of the township treasurer, I'm intimately involved or hear about all the work that the board is doing and the planning commission, and you have people on your side now that are listening, and this is a good start, having a town hall and letting people share their voice, their opinion with their voice, along with your survey that you did. So we all appreciate what you're doing, and I have confidence that we're headed in the right direction. So thank you.
Anyone else? All right. Well, I just wanted to share one, oops. Do you have a comment? Oh,
No, he was waving.
All the acreage has been given to solar and that's bad. Some go and look in these fields and it's like a big eyesore, solar panels up there.
well, what I wanted to share, since we have a little pause in the public comment, and you're more than welcome to interrupt me at any time, because if anybody knows, I can go till 10 o'clock. So, but above trustee Wright's head there is what is this planning commission has been working on as it relates to a corrected zoning map. And one of the things we have been really trying to do is to put on that map what areas are 425, Public Act 425, transferred to the city of Marshall. And so if you were to look at the black line surrounding the city of Marshall and where it's extended to, it also hops over a few parcels as you head to the west. And then you see the big blue oval, the major campus and the blue oval site. So Wayne, can you, trustee Wright, can you point to the purple? So all of that. So you can see, just with the current 425 agreements, what that looks like in terms of land mass, right? That is been transferred to the city of Marshall. So.
And I'll say with the solar, in terms of solar, I think the thing that made that difficult is the state changed its rules, essentially saying that solar was agricultural, which meant that solar farms didn't have to, well, they call them farms, I don't think they're farm, but they didn't have to be, they were no longer required to be on industrial parcels, so they wouldn't have to change zoning to make it easier for solar installations on land that they saw as easy to erect them, so.
No cutting trees, right? I mean, all of those, we were harvesting solar, right? Harvesting solar.
So what that makes it hard for like this commission is when someone comes with a solar application and the zoning already conforms based off of the state what the state allows for what is considered agriculture, it just makes it very difficult for us to be able to put brakes or put restrictions on it when the state has opened that up.
So to all of you that are here in the audience, just one, I mean, maybe one last thing I'll say is, you know, that's what we're looking at. Like, if you look at that map, right? And we're trying to look at our master plan. Remember, planning for the future, where should we have industrial commercial? We hear from our survey, it's what agriculture, or rural areas, right? Quiet communities. What about the rest of the area that's in white is really that agricultural area? Is that what we should be preserving? I mean, we're asking you, right? Like, what do you see in terms of what should that map look like for the future, right? To the right or to the left of Trustee Wright, that is our current zoning map. And then the far one is what is currently in our master plan as the future land use map. So this commission, not only are we going to, because we found some errors, correcting that middle map to the one above Trustee Wright, we also have to create that future land use map, a new one, right? Or maybe the same. So that's what we're very interested in, you know, since we've got a captive audience, is what would you like to see that, what should it look like?
And by the way, the far map, the future one, that was what was passed in 2022 that she was saying. But this board did not, the previous one said, this is what we want it to look like. That's not what this one did. I just want to say that.
Except for me, I was here.
Joanna wanted that.
Lessons learned. Anyway, so if there's anybody any comments on that, we'd love to hear it. If not, it's fine too, but.
I got something else I gotta ask too, and I know nobody knows this answer, but think back when you had a dial-up phone and somebody would, and who would ever dream that we wouldn't have phones and we're going to the cell phone? This solar and this battery plant, who knows, but the solar especially, how do we know? We don't know. It's gonna be obsolete before it gets full throttle. You know, that's the way I see it. I mean, and you got to look at life, how everything changes so much. So how do they get rid of all those poles that they banged in the ground by our house that look like they're in the ground 10 feet? And I mean, they got to have some specialized machine, pull it out, the wiring, all that. I mean, they've ruined it. They've ruined it. Yeah. So.
I think you probably know this, and I'm far from an expert, but just the very, you know, the townships, again, all lessons learned, right? I'll speak for myself again, is that there's these decommissioning plans, right? That we have tried to do our due diligence to say, okay, in 50 years, I mean, I'm not going to be here, but, you know, potentially, you know, are we going to be able to reuse this, repurpose, et cetera? But there are so many variables between now and then, to your point, whether it be technology advancing in use, you know, is the same company still going to be in business? I mean, you know, there's so many variables to that. And it's hard sometimes when you're in the middle of it to really try to think of everything.
Right.
And
We can't see the future.
No.
But I'm just bringing it to everybody's attention.
no, I know, no, it's a good, I get you.
And to your point, talking about the phones, 3 years ago, who would ever thought of a data center?
Yeah.
And that's what we're faced with. We don't know what's coming. So how do we address what we don't know? We can only do the best we can, but, you know.
Is there a decommissioning escrow on that next data solar?
Yes, yeah, there's like.
I do not know for sure. I'm not even going to answer that.
I'm pretty sure there is, yeah.
To be renewed or something.
And I have one more question too for Dave. I got a question for Dave. Can they bring more solar into Marshall? If I heard the rumor that it was, you had to own 500 acres, a person had to own 500 acres, or they can't put solar in Marshall Township.
That's in our ordinance.
Is it? But it's not, it could be several landowners together.
Okay. Didn't know that. That's what I wanted to know.
And
Dave, don't go anywhere. I have a question for you.
the state's what is the PA, the PA?
Michigan Public Service
The PA
Commission.
233
Oh, okay.
kind of took that away, some of that away, because anything 50 megawatts, I think it's 50 megawatts or larger,
Roger, I think you're right. Could go to.
we can't restrict that. I mean, they can go to the state, you know, just like your bus. Yeah, they could go to this, you know, we could say the 500 acres, but that, a 500 acre solar farm might be 70 megawatts or 90 megawatts. So if a company wanted to come in and put a 50 megawatt, which would be much smaller, they would need 500 acres, they could go to the state and say, hey, we want to put a 50 megawatt, Marshall Township's restricting us. We could be overridden.
Well, if I recall correctly, Dave, just real quick, next year, Serial City, and anybody can do this as well, presented an ordinance change to our ordinance that had smaller scale solar, and I can't remember if it was 50 acres or 100 acres. And they presented the township with a change in the ordinance for larger parcels or larger tract, if I'm remembering correctly. And so the first thing the Planning Commission had to do was to either approve or not approve this ordinance request, an ordinance change request from the solar company, right? And the idea was, oh, isn't this better because we'll have large tracts of solar instead of parceled out, you know, all throughout the township, if I recall correctly. So it kind of got changed, not kind of, pardon, it got changed to that 500 acre, and some of that came directly from the solar companies making that request and that ordinance change, so.
And we got another thing going against us too. Consumers Powers bought up over 3,000 acres that's going to be solar. That's over by Fine Lake.
Yeah.
Well, look at Lee Township.
Yeah.
There's 5 or 7.
Yeah.
I forget how many acres that is.
6,000.
Yeah, and going up into into Eaton
That's
County.
starting this summer.
Yeah.
I think Calhoun County has one of the largest solar land mass areas in the state. I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure.
Look in Albion Township. There's a lot in Albion Township.
Well, that's Star Commonwealth and pretty much all Sheridan Townships also.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Dave, just since we've got you captive at the podium, what would you see in the future where it's white on the map, you know, is the one above Trustee Wright? Would you like to see that preserved as agriculture?
Yeah, I'm all for that, but you know, being a young guy, you know, you kind of, maybe you want a battery plant, it's a job. So, you know, it's like.
There's a balance.
There's a balance there. So it's so hard to do what you guys are gonna do, you know, it's just, I don't
Also,
know.
you know, I mean, you look at all that agricultural land, those are landowners.
Yeah.
They own the land,
Yep.
you know? You might not like that solar farm out on Junior Staley's, but it was his choice.
Yeah.
And he's making money. How do you fault a guy for making money? I mean, if he can make more money that than farming, I mean, I might not like it, but I understand his decision.
I've always
So
wondered,
it's, you know,
money's enough for some of these guys.
well,
And that's just the crazy thing, but I wanna go to Stewart Lake and I wanna go fishing. I like seeing that kind of stuff, and that's why we've been here our whole life, you know, and, it's cool. And, you know, to see the solar farms just keep building and going, and it just, come on, we've had enough. Send it somewhere else.
Yeah, stay away from 15 Mile, please.
Don't-
It's like the dumping ground of Marshall, that whole area. I feel like we're the garbage dump.
No.
Well, that would be bad, that would be bad.
Thanks.
Yeah, no,
But-
Thanks, Dave.
stay away. I don't want no more crap down there.
Don't you think that it wasn't that bad when the solar went on Fletcher's? It wasn't that bad. It wasn't that big. Did that really affect, did you guys really feel that the Fletchers really would have bothered you? If the rest of the township, if you said Fletchers did that solar panel, Marshall Township's got their solar panel, can we just live it out there? And we would have lived with it because it didn't affect everything else.
Roger, it's down the road from us, you know, and I don't see that as offensive. And Jim is my friend, even after we're talking solar, and he's working with us with the Convas thing because he sees this as offensive too. They're making $33,000 a day. Lynn is off of his property out there, not talking about his best. Just so you know, I figured we got that figured out. And the funny thing about Jim is, I said, Jim, how much money you making? And he says, I don't know. I said, are you shitting me? You have a solar project in your field, and you can't tell me what you have a contract for. And he swears he can't. So I don't know, but I do know about Lynn Smith and his $33,000 a day. My question for the land around the solar, they can't take, a farmer can't take 1,000 acres of his farmland. That's all he has. He can't put 1,000 into solar. Tell me no. He has to leave some behind, right?
You can't.
I don't understand.
Because of the setbacks from the road and the houses, so the setback,
And I heard they had to keep some for farmland.
well,
No.
I don't think that's true.
Just setbacks. 'Cause
Setbacks.
I have heard that from two credible people that have said, if a farmer has 1,000 acres, that's all he has. He cannot put 1,000 acres of solar, and he has to have to farm. He has to have some to farm to call it agricultural.
I've never
No.
heard that, and I don't believe that's the case.
You-
And I will point you to, because I don't know it by heart, but in our zoning ordinance, we do have the solar requirements in there, and I can email those to you and link you to it. But it does not have that stipulation, like Commissioner Summers says, there's setbacks, there's, various requirements, but there's nothing in there that I recall off the top of my head, unless other commissioners can recall it, that says a portion of it must remain agriculture, because remember, it's kind of considered agriculture, right? Because we're harvesting solar, right? So I don't know that there's any stipulation,
Yeah,
that I've not heard of that.
And you don't have to farm to be considered agriculture. I mean, all that white spot up there is not all farmed. I have 10 acres and it's zoned agricultural, but I don't farm. So,
Thank you. Any other comments from participants? Okay.
can I ask the audience some questions?
Sure.
I'd like to shift gears a little bit. What would you all like to see as far as housing, developments, or a business corridor, or what are your thoughts on where housing development should go, whether it be single family, multifamily, high density? I mean, what are your thoughts on that? Where do you think we should have a commercial? If you look at this is something that bothers me. Because I'm a country guy. I like living in. But if you look at this master plan, you see this dotted line here with all this yellow? This is called urban growth boundary. If you look at that comes way up. So that's telling me in the future land use that we're okay with urban development up there. I think that encroaches on a lot of the country.
way to go away.
And I don't want that. And I think that encroaches on a lot of your rural character.
What's the green stuff on that?
Green is open space recreation, like Bear Creek, areas like that, wetlands. But, I mean, is the township good with that? I mean, do they like that, or they don't like that? Would you like to see more commercial up in here or not? Would you like to see, my thought is, I'd like to see the commercial along Michigan Avenue.
Right.
Closer to the city, where they have city services and that. And keep this more rural, more single-family homes. I mean, we're not going to stop, you're not going to be able to stop home development. We're not going to be able to stop that. It's going to happen. But you can kind of guide it in a way, to try to keep your rural character. I mean, I'm just asking what's everybody's thought on business, industry?
Like Rogers Business is on Michigan Avenue there, you know, and that's a good spot. You can see it. It's
The track between here and Battle Creek.
Right.
Well, I just think it makes sense since we have the Blue Oval now and a main thoroughfare. And I'm not talking, I don't want to see big stuff, but I mean like, like we have some businesses, like we have some car detailing and we have a heating, cooling business. I think that kind of stuff goes kind of along here, not way out in here. But that's just my thought. I'd like the audience's comments on what they'd like to see.
I've heard a lot of comments about us growing into Battle Creek, that we're getting, we're blending Marshall now and it will turn into Battle Creek, our area. I've heard a lot of negativity about that. Concern.
So is anybody willing to come to the podium for any responses to Dwayne or Commissioner Sly's thoughts? No?
What?
Dwayne, show me where there are other, don't we have some areas that have housing?
Well, point out what we talked about last night. If you look, the city of Marshall, the light blue is the city of Marshall.
Okay.
And you see purple, now come to the new map. Go to the new map and show her where the new people are doing.
Millbrook?
Millbrook.
Oh, Millbrook? That's down here
Only
along,
knows what, see, the white is still Marshall Township. The blue is the city, but Marshall Township still is the white stuff.
there,
But that purple and blue was 425 to the city, and that's gonna be a Millbrook
housing development.
housing development that's passed through the city and through everything.
Where would that be located?
The old Kelly Farm.
Hughes Street and Old 27,
Dave knows where it is.
going towards Squaw Creek.
Okay.
It'd be on the river side of the road. Phase 1 is gonna go in, it's 322 units. They've got 3 phases possible. But those are like, higher density residential areas. So what does everybody think about where those should go?
Just there.
I mean, along the,
Just there.
keep it as close to the city as possible. I mean, that's my thought. I don't know. What does everybody else think?
So are you saying that on, I realize that this is the previous.
The current.
Yep, this is the current.
The previous one that
We're gonna look at, right? Yep.
You're saying we're 11, 12, 13, and 14, where it's yellow, that's proposed urban development?
It's considered the urban growth boundary.
So that map says urban can grow up to that.
Encouraged
Yes.
to go to that area
It could.
over this. It could.
Doesn't mean it's going.
Potentially, a lot of this could be 425 down the road, if they put city services out there.
Well, and the reason
Entirely
that
possible.
this is important, because a lot of when we are looking as a planning commission, or, we're looking at what are the elements to approve or disapprove something, a lot of times we're going to look at that future land use as a component. And if it says in the future that could be urban growth boundary and commercial or industrial or development, it's a component to say, well, then why wouldn't you approve it? Because you've already claimed that in the future, that's what you want to have this township look like. So that's why that is so important, right?
Yellow shouldn't shrink.
Absolutely. Dwayne, where does L Drive, where I live out there, where is that?
You're right up here. You're right here.
Urban development, right across from Bess. I'm being a smart ass.
I'm looking at you going, really? Yeah.
Put all the housing there. You can have my house.
Well, and again, having been on the longest serving planning commissioner, coming in, I think in 22, I can't remember if it was late 21 or 22, but you know, it was so hard because even our previous master plan talked about preserving rural development. And I look at this map and go, and I think a lot of us do in this community go, well, what just happened? We say we're going to preserve rural development, and you look at this, and I don't know what the percentage of our township is gone, right? Because it's been 425 into the city. It doesn't look like we've been upholding the very thing we thought we were supposed to do. So that's why this give and take is just really important to us, so.
How many houses are in that area right now?
Which area, Dana?
11 and 12 that you propose
In
to
that-
turn into residential?
In that urban growth boundary?
Yeah.
Well, you've got several developments. You got Kesselwood, you got Highfield Road, you've got all along 17 and a half mile road, G Drive, 18-mile road. Those are all, you know, single-family homes.
But if that's like what, medium density or
I'd say it'd be low density.
low
but-
density?
low
So
density.
you've got large lots there, right?
Yeah, larger lots.
That 330,
Well,
except for maybe
I-
Northfield, but they're still pretty big lots.
Kesselwoods are bigger lots, but I think along like Highfield Road, they're smaller lots. They're less than an acre lot.
An acre, isn't, okay.
And also, I don't know, and now that we have things online so you can watch our meetings and do it, we denied a development on 16 and Mile Road. What,
16 and a half.
Well,
16 and a half mile road, just north of,
we recommended that it be turned down.
well, we're,
The Township board turned it down, yeah.
okay.
Accepted our.
But it didn't fit what the criteria was, so we recommended to the council to not approve them to build it, because they were gonna do 25 duplex type houses on the way into Marshall there. But we didn't feel that it matched what the land use was, because it was ag ground. So we did stall that out.
It was a proposed a zoning change to go from, what is it, ag residential to R2, and under when someone applies for a zoning change, it's a lot of people, and I used to think this too, was that if a bunch of people show up and say we don't want it, you're gonna turn it down. Well, that's not the way it goes. There is a standard of approval. In our township ordinance, we have, I think, five standards of approval. And if you meet those 5 standards, then you have to approve it. But in that case, we found several of the standards of approval that it didn't meet. So that's why, you know, a lot of that stuff's pretty important to have the right zoning, to have the right ordinances, you know, it's tough.
Okay.
You show them?
I don't know.
What bowling alley?
Well,
The rumor, it's a rumor.
Bowman Alley?
Behind Airedale. Out that way. Yeah.
Yes.
Let's see where we at here. It would be right here on Burlingame Drive. Just down from the fire station, or station number 2, yeah. But we haven't heard anything about that. Just rumors. There's lots of rumors.
But Eric Dale has applied for building a new building. So there's an application for Eric Dale to expand his property or whatever his operation is.
Think about that, do you?
There's a application for him to just build one more building.
So,
It's just an application, that just, so, but I don't know how there would be a reason to stop him.
so is there anybody here that would disagree, if now, you know, raise your hand, that we as a planning commission, as we're looking at the future land use, that we shrink and/or eliminate the urban growth boundary, and we focus any industrial commercial into where it's existing today along the Michigan Avenue corridor and preserve as much of the township to be agricultural,
Ag residential.
ag residential. Is there anybody who disapproves of that? Raise your hand. Okay, that helps. Okay. Anybody else? Last chance? No? Commissioner Buller, anything online?
No, nothing from me.
Okay. Commissioner Summers, anything that you'd like to add? Mr. Woods?
Through this whole process, we have to plan for growth, no matter what, either residential and or commercial. But we can kind of guide it to where we want it to be. That's what we're here to try to come up with that plan. And your input is very valuable and sincerely appreciate it. So.
Very good. Commissioner Riggs?
No.
Commissioner Markounis? No. Commissioner Sly?
I'd like to hear from Dave. Well, you're very experienced. You were on the planning commission for a long time and you've got a lot of experience as a supervisor. I'm just curious. I mean, I think I know what you would like, but I'd like to hear your thoughts on the master plan and what you've been through master plans.
Originally, any commercial growth was supposed to start on Michigan Avenue.
That's I believe I know it's my thought too. I mean,
That's the way it's always, as long as I remember, that's the way it's been. We wanted to keep it, that, and like this out here, there was that wasn't even in the radar, anything.
right.
I mean, there was 700 acres there that was owned by industrial. And, we always thought someday something would come in there. Until this happened so fast. I feel like I'm in an island.
You are. You're between a solar farm and a battery plant.
I'm right there with you. Well, thank you for listening. I have to go to work.
Thank you.
Thank you.
But
All right. Anything else, Commissioner Sly?
no,
I just wanted to share that our next meeting, regular planning commission meeting is March 3rd. Last evening, we added an additional master plan review meeting. It is on March 11th at 6 o'clock. Then after that, we have another regular meeting, April 7th. And then we did make a change from our May 5th regular meeting date to May 13th. So again, a lot of opportunity between now and when we have a draft master plan. And on behalf of all of us, thank you guys for coming out tonight. We really appreciate, you sharing your thoughts and as we try to look to the future of Marshall Township. So thank you very much. We're adjourned at 8:13.